let's pretend I'm an agent who thinks online leads suck, and you both happen to care about me as a human being, and you want me to see the folly in my ways. How would you explain it to me?
Okay, Parker, you answer that, but first let me say that we, for a little while, had a series of T-shirts made that said, "The leads don't suck, you suck." They were short-lived.
By the way, there's the
we felt
opening for the podcast right there.
Please tell me you've got that in a 3XL, because I want it. Yeah.
If I can find one, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
You talk about it privately, we talk about it publicly. This is the Real Estate Insiders Unfiltered podcast. Welcome again to the Real Estate Insiders Unfiltered podcast. I'm your host, Dwiggy, along with Mr. Crazy Uncle Robinson over here.
Yes, sir.
Man, we've got, we had quite the guest today. I mean, some really amazing numbers. We're talking about a team that does 2,200 transactions or something like that.
Crazy. A lot. Yeah. They basically sell every house in Minnesota. Just kidding.
Yeah. Parker, Pemberton and Liz Rein from Pemberton Real Estate. Keith, give them the background, man. This was such a cool conversation. And some of the stories, both of their personal stories.
Yeah. This is one of the more vulnerable interviews we've had with Top Producer to date. They share why they left what they were doing to start something new, how they came together to build something really special. This part was very interesting. In an era where many brokerages are moving towards teamrages, they actually did the opposite, and they went from a teamrage to forming their own brokerage. Which was very interesting, where he shared his thought process as to why it's not a conversation you hear very often. We talked about, of course, recruiting, retention, per agent productivity, how he built a choice model with his team, and the power of starting from contribution and how truly powerful that is. This is a great conversation, and you are going to learn a bunch. Put it in your ears, kids.
Hey, look, it's competitive out there and everyone is looking for an edge. Top agents from all over the country have been using Zillow Showcase to stand out with listings that truly impress buyers. For those that haven't seen it, Showcase is an exclusive, immersive media experience, stunning photography, video, virtual staging, and even Sky Tour that drives more views, saves, and shares. In fact, agents using Showcase on the majority of their listings sell 30% more properties than agents that are not. If you want to showcase your brand, win more listings, and be the agent sellers choose, get signed up for Zillow Showcase today. Parker, Liz, welcome to the podcast. We are very excited to have you both here. You both have been in the business a long time, but you've also been in the news about making some changes in some new directions, which we're going to dive into today. But we're, first of all, just blessed to have you. We kind of mentioned in the green room, we tend to be up in your area with podcasts recently.
Yeah, we're only interviewing agents from Minnesota this year. And then, but watch out, Wisconsin, you're next year. So stay ready, Wisconsin. Stay ready.
But genuinely appreciate having you both on the show. You guys run one of the top teams in the entire US, which has been on our series we've been doing. So I guess let's just start with a little bit of background so everybody knows who you are. Parker, I'll start with you real quick. Just give kind of quick background, where you started and how you got into residential real estate.
Yeah, thanks, guys. First of all, huge fan of what you do for this industry. So I just want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
It's an honor to be on this podcast. I told you in the green room, I love how you guys take a stance on things. So I appreciate that. I got into real estate as a realtor's son, to be honest with you. Second generation, watched dad grow up as a realtor. Got to see all the good things and the bad things and fell into it in my late 20s. I was finishing up a golf career and which I went to college to play golf. I went to New Mexico. It was pretty much all I knew until I was about 25 years old, until that came to an end. Great learning lesson. And I came home and I said, I got to figure out something to do. So I got a real estate license, failed, couldn't pick up a phone, couldn't make a sales call. This is 2011. It was like, what am I going to do next? And so I went back to what I did when I was a 10-year-old kid, started mowing lawns door to door around Apple Valley, Minnesota, which ended up actually teaching me a ton about business and sales. And then I got back in at 30 and it all clicked. This was in 2016. So I failed the first time, I got back in, and that's when I met Liz. 2016 this came together, and the rest is history.
So really, you just met Liz, and that was it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most people say
I love this
about
story.
me.
Me too.
I love
too.
this story,
There's a
by
lot
the way.
in there,
So
but
yeah. Well, let's get Liz real quick, and then we'll come back. So I want to dive a little deeper into that. So Liz, give us your background. I mean, obviously you and Parker met, but like, where did you start, and then how'd you get into this business? And you guys are running one of the top teams in the country.
Yeah, you got it. Yep. After college, I went to law school and practiced for about 10 years, did mostly real estate and construction, mostly litigation. There were a lot of things that I loved about it. It was fun and exciting, and lots of reading and writing and lots of great teamwork. The parts I hated were just that it was inevitably adversarial all the time.
Sure.
And I started to, it just didn't kind of bring enough meaning for the amount of output of energy. And my kids got to a point where I was like, God, I'm working a lot and we're struggling a lot to just make all the things meet. So I said, all right, I'm out. So I left, and I just needed to find a gig that would allow me to pick up and drop off my kids from school. And so Parker's Coldwell Banker office was one stoplight from my house, and I just kind of fell into it. And I joined them as really just as an admin doing very basic email management and stuff. Saw quickly that Parker intended for his career to take a much, much wider path, and I got to just be along for the ride, which was amazing.
That's awesome. I love that. Keith and I always talk about how people come from different, walks of life and sectors to end up in residential real estate, and there's no common theme. It's from like every possible angle. With how people have gotten into the business. So Keith, I know you got some follow-up questions, knowing you.
I do. I got Parker and Liz follow-up questions. Which one do you want me to do? You can do the other one.
Pick. Go.
All right. I'm going to go with Liz because she just went, and then you can ask the Parker question. So, or maybe this is technically a Parker question. So Liz, how, both of you have these stories of what I'll call dissatisfaction, right? Whether it was getting into the real estate industry and it wasn't working, or becoming an attorney and it wasn't working. And so you do all this work, you go to all this school, you have a career that is, thriving or whatever, but kind of making you crazy. And your solution is to go be the admin to a real estate team around the corner. How in the hell did you end up from there to there? And that's just such an interesting, I'm very impressed with people who, everyone talks about wanting a better quality of life. Right. Not everyone is willing to do what it takes to manufacture and create and curate that in their life. And we are an industry that is full of people who have tremendous freedom, but don't exercise that freedom and feel like they're trapped in this role. And as someone who did that, how did you do that? How did you understand that if this sounds crazy to everyone in my life. I'm sure people were looking at you like, Liz, you're going to do what now? And then yet here you are now, right? So unpack that for me.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure that my mom has yet forgiven me.
Mom, look at her now. Mom,
right?
Look at her now, Mom. Yeah.
No, I think it was more about kind of the grieving a dream of an idea of what my career and what being a grown-up was going to be like, and then you just get to a point, right?
We were lied to. Yeah, we were
100% lied to, Mom. But I think wanting to find something where the personal part of your life feels and the work part of your life just feel like extensions of each other. I mean, that's the goal for everybody. And that is just the absolutely hardest thing. But working with Parker, I was kind of able to find that. Not by any intention of either of us, I don't think, but it just worked out that way and has allowed me to feel like just a holistic person, which that's amazing.
Yeah. All right. You heard it. Be more like Liz, y'all.
I love that, by the way. Parker, my question for you is, and I'm trying to figure out how to frame this, but you were trying to figure things out, right? You had golf, you were moving that towards a career, and then it sounds like that didn't go the path that you wanted. You got into real estate, struggled there to some degree, and then took a step back and then came back into it. And I guess my question is, you're now in the spot where you're obviously very successful and you've done an incredible job. Like, how did you overcome those ideas of I haven't succeeded multiple times, and to pick yourself up and then start it all over again in a career that you had left to now become where you are. Like, I want that. Talk to me about that mindset. Like, how did you overcome your own demons to succeed like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And all four of us on this call have been through a ton of shit in our lives, right? And so it's a series of
and ongoing.
Currently
100%. It's a series of just believing in yourself and believing in your mission enough to continue to go forward when something tries to knock you off. And I was raised as a high achiever. I was the leader of my family. We have 4 boys in my family. Always took care of all of them. In every sport that I played, I was always the captain of the team. I was always just trying to be the best that I could be. And if anybody is listening to this, has been a golfer, you understand how hard it is to get really good at golf. It's something that takes 12 hours a day of practice and commitment for literally decades straight. And so I did that. And it carved who I was as a person. I had many things in the way that I got turned down. I got said no to. I didn't make the cuts. Lots of things. But the thing that stuck with me was that I ended up getting a call halfway through my freshman year at the University of Minnesota that there was a spot for me on the University of New Mexico's team. And I went down to New Mexico thinking it was like Phoenix, Arizona. And I worked my whole life to be a Division I golfer. And I get there and there's snow on the ground and we're in 6,000 feet up. And New Mexico, they have green chili on everything that they eat. It's crazy. And I'm just this, white Minnesota boy just showing up. And I'm like, you know what? I've got my golf clubs and I've got a car. And that's all I needed. Yeah. And then I got to be, put in front of the best in the world at the time. This was at a time when Dustin Johnson, Ricky Fowler, guys of that generation were coming through. And so just being there allowed me to see what being better would look like. And I've always been a student. I've always wanted to put myself into a room that's bigger than me because I feel like that gives us the best opportunity to grow. And so I made it pretty damn far. I played professionally for 4 years after college. If anybody knows what mini tours are like, you're living in the back of a Nissan Altima with your clothes in the back, and
it's very glamorous, right, Parker? Very glamorous.
Yeah, I can tell you about every single gas station in America, though. Let me tell you. But you got to a point where you just weren't good enough, and you had to make the decision in your life, and it was that turning point, right? And I had a mentor of mine at the time that said, "Parker, set a goal, and if you don't hit it, you need to move on because there's way more to life than just golf." And so I came home, I failed, I wasn't good enough. And really it was between the ears. It wasn't physical. I could hit the ball as far as anybody, as good as anybody. It was between the ears. And that was something that weighed on me for a long time that I have made a priority of mine all the way up until today to master the mindset. And so I get home and I just don't know what I'm going to do. And I literally, 25 years old, I grab a lawnmower and I start knocking on doors. You go from being a professional golfer to mowing lawns for $20. Like, it's probably the most humbling feeling in the whole world. Yeah. Not quite like going to law school and then working at your local Coldwell Banker, but
I mean, like they're neighbors and they've borrowed each other's sugar.
Yeah. No, it's way worse. But going door to door, getting rejected before I even knew what door knocking was, right? I just wanted to service the community and help the people in the community. And I would do a great job for them. And then they would refer me to somebody else. And then I would get an online review. And then this thing called Angie's List popped up, which ended up being critical in my career because Angie's List is basically the Zillow of the services business, or it used to be at least. So rinse and repeat, service the customer at a high level, provide a great service, get a referral, get a review, keep moving forward. I feel like I just talked for a long time. So
no, you didn't. Great. And by the way, I just thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
We love when people are vulnerable about this stuff, because you're basically saying, I didn't succeed at this. I went and did what I needed to do to get by. And by the way, everybody has that story. Okay. Yeah. Just so that everybody's got that story. And I think that sometimes people look at our industry and the people at the top and they just think it was like a straight path. And it was just,
it was just,
we all got there and it was like, we worked hard and it paid off. It's like, no, man, this thing was a roller coaster of shit along the way, The
reason it seems like it was a straight path is because that's all people, it's revisionist history. When they tell the story, they omit the failure and the struggle and they just talk about, spiking the, sorry, should I use golf analogies instead of football today? But, a
hole in one.
So, we can go to, sit on lawn care for a second because there's two things that I still reflect on. First, I'd go out and mow 50 lawns in a day, come home filled with grass on my body. It'd be 7:00 at night. And I would think to myself, how do I get more accounts? And so I'd go into lead generation mode after 12 hours of grueling work. And I would come home and I'd say, who can I get next? Where is that next account coming from? And that mindset has just never gone away. But I failed in lawn care as well. I built this thing up. We had a bunch of trucks and trailers and employees. And I look at my 1099 at the end of the year and I'm like, what did I do wrong? Like, where is the money?
Like all this money's coming in, but it's all going out, right? Yeah.
100%. And what I didn't do at the time, I didn't delegate. I didn't delegate and I never got myself off the mower. If you think about it. So I'd be out there for 12 hours a day versus hiring other people to be out there for 12 hours a day while I was out acquiring bigger accounts and solidifying the big money, commercial accounts, businesses, those type of things. So I tell our company all the time, get yourself off the mower because there are a lot of little things in real estate that you should not be doing that we always are tripping over and still doing, right? So that played a critical role in my development. And then when I got into real estate, I just naturally was thinking like a lead generator. Where is that next person coming from? How am I going to get in front of the next client? And then once I did, how can I get the little stuff off my plate so I can keep focusing on finding more clients? And the first question you ask is, how do you get back up after you fall down? Well, that's how.
Yeah. I got one more, and then I promise we're going to get to rapid fire, and we'll ask you how big your team is and all that stuff, because it's important too. But I'm so intrigued by the thread of this conversation from both of you. Parker, you were in real estate before the landscaping business, before you launched the landscaping business, and you wouldn't door knock, and then you launched this landscaping business, and you build it solely by door knocking. What in the hell was going on? Like, how did that, like, what was the difference between door knocking for real estate? Because so many people won't do it, right? And I feel like there was something pulling you or restricting you from doing it as a real estate agent, but you felt fully unlocked to do it as a I don't know, lawn care professional. I'm not sure what we call those folks. Explain that.
Yeah. I wasn't in it for the right reasons. And, half of this industry isn't in it for the right reasons. So of course you're not going to have that urgency to show up every day and do the thing. And I was in it because I'm like, hey, I'm going to make a little bit of money on the side while I'm playing professional events and traveling in and out of the Midwest. And so I wasn't there. I wasn't fully all in. And when I went into lawn care, I had no other option. Like, nobody was going to feed me. If I didn't perform, my girlfriend at the time, Kathy, wasn't going to live a decent life. I mean, we were renting a house with 3 other friends at the time. And I'm just looking up at the ceiling when we go to bed, and I'm like, I got to get us into a better life, and the only thing that's going to do that is for me to show up every day and do the work.
You burnt that old business quote. You burnt the boats, right? Like,
it's like literally on my wall.
It's right.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I saw the man in the arena one. I didn't see the burn the boats one, right?
Yeah,
but you hadn't burned the boats
in
real estate. You still had golf. You still had this other thing. You hadn't let go of that yet. You hadn't said, no, I'm all in this direction. And in this industry, it's just so pervasive that they may not have another gig that they're working on, but they don't just fully commit and say, I'm doing this and I'm all in on this and this is my thing. And so thank you both for sharing your willingness to change your life, to do something hard, to walk away from this, 8-10 years of school to become an attorney, decades of your life to try to become a professional golfer. And if you don't, to James's point, if we don't share those trials with each other, then people don't understand what it takes on the other side. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay,
all right, let's do rapid fires, Keith. Go ahead and start us.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll go first, and I will go with Liz. Liz, favorite book or podcast this year ever. Why? I'll add it to my reading list today.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to say this, which is not the answer that you want, but I
That's okay.
Generally reject all nonfiction because I just got enough of that in law school and I can't do it.
I feel
so
you.
I'm going to thank you. I'm glad. I'm going to say Louise Erdrich is my favorite author, and Master Butcher Singing Club, my favorite book. Not relevant to your podcast, though.
Well,
I will
it might be.
Well, good.
Maybe.
You should read it. It's lovely. But favorite podcast. My role at Pemberton, and we'll talk more about this, is so based on people and leading people. So my podcast tendencies go towards more on the leadership side. I love Andy Stanley's leadership podcast. I just think he does such a lovely job.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind and gracious when he talks about it too. Yeah.
Yeah,
really good
exactly.
podcast. Yep. Awesome. All right, James, you're up.
All right, Parker. So I'm really excited to hear this answer. Who's been the most influential person in your life and why?
Yeah, this is what I was dreading a little bit because I can't put my finger on one.
Okay.
We obviously have our parents and we have people we grew up with. In real estate, though, I started off in the Tom Ferry network, so Tom was extremely influential to me. And then I hooked up with John Cheplack. And John, I would say, made the biggest impact in my life because John helped me grow up.
Yeah.
And John is part of the reason why I quit drinking in 2023, which has allowed me to really show up as my best self. So I always tie that answer to that memory.
Yeah.
John and I don't coach directly right now, but we're friends and we talk all the time. And Liz, huge inspiration to me. Aww. She's been here through thick and thin. And truly, it's a reason why I show up to try to be my best every day.
I love that.
We got to get John on.
Really good answers.
We got to get
we
on the pod.
We need to get John on here. I've been following him on his journey with his horse farm, and it's just so awesome to watch all the stuff that he's doing out there. So, all right, let's dive into the meat of everything. I'll kick us off real fast. So everybody's got context. Talk to us about your team, the markets you serve, which we kind of alluded to, and then just for, we know we're getting close into 2025, but 2024 production units and volume. That's just to set up context on backgrounds. Everybody's got a little bit of that. Who wants to start?
Probably the former attorney will give us the details. Yeah,
that's right. So we started as a team back in 2016, but just recently converted over to a brokerage just last month. So now we are at Pemberton. Thank you. We are thrilled. But I will let Parker give you the numbers because he lives and dies by them.
Yeah, we just heard George Loughton come on here, and he talked about dashboards on dashboards, and and man, I can relate to that. I need to call him though and get his perspective of what his look like. I live in dashboards all day. I feel like I know that if you don't have data in front of you, you can't make big decisions in real time. Mm-hmm. So I also know that because I listen to a lot of podcasts, this is like the badge of honor question of like, how many homes do you sell, right?
Yeah.
But we're at 2,200 on the year, 829 million. We just made a brokerage change, so we still have some agents that haven't transferred their licenses. So I'm excluding them in this. We average 12.1 sales per agent at our company.
Wow.
When we get those other agents over, that's going to dilute it a little bit, but that's where we're at right now.
That's crazy. 2,200 homes, you said?
Yeah.
And how big is the brokerage now? I was going to say team.
How many agents?
So how big is
how
many
193.
Yeah.
Wow. 193 agents. And about 35.
That's a lot of production,
staff.
folks.
Yeah. I have a dashboard on dashboard question. So as a data-driven person too, I love data. I crave it all the time. My team hates me because I ask for random ass things and drives them crazy. It is true. How do you synthesize data? Because I find data to be ubiquitous. It's everywhere, right? You can drown in data and actually learn very little. So when you're working through the dashboards, maybe you notice something. Do you have a process for is it notice, fire off the email? Is it notice, meditate on it for a day? Is it notice, call in your trusted advisors on the team? Not the little stuff, because there's little, you see something needs to be fixed, you send an email for someone to fix it, right? That's not what I mean. I mean the big decisions. So how do you transition from data to decision making is my question.
Yeah, and what you're referencing is the sales managers look over the data and follow up, boss, for the agents, right?
Yep.
I look at CSU, number one. That's always up on my board. But then I take the data from
just in
QuickBooks.
case. Sorry to interrupt. Just in case someone doesn't know, CSU does. I know what it does, but for the audience, yeah.
And Brian and his team is fantastic.
Yeah, commission tracking. Yep. Okay.
We love those. We love those guys. Just being able to see what's being put under contract, what's pending, what's closing. And then of course, we have a QuickBooks file where I compile the data of each of the major expenses, and then I plug it into a condensed P&L. This is where people think that I'm a little nerdy, but it shows me the trajectory of growth of each of the major expenses. It shows me cost of goods, which we also in the industry call agent pay or agent pay percentage. And then, of course, it shows me net profit. And when we're trajectory up and we're always hiring, it allows us to say, hey, maybe we do need to go make a big splash. Liz and I did just make a huge splash. We hired a marketplace leader. His name's Ed Kaiser, and Ed's our general counsel. So first time hiring an attorney. So Liz hired an attorney, which is really cool. But
yeah, that's like full circle. That's got to feel good, Liz, right?
It really does.
Yeah,
really
you work for me, son. I'm just kidding, attorney guy. Just kidding.
Nah,
she doesn't
Ed's
feel that
awesome.
way. We love you. We're proud you're on the team. Yeah,
he's a leader, and it's a big splash, and we're super lucky to have him. But if we didn't have those numbers in front of us, we wouldn't be able to make a decision like that. And when we flipped over to broker, we knew we needed to beef up our broker team. It was the one weakness that we had. So we went out and we made a weakness, probably one of our biggest strengths at this point. And because we know the numbers, we're able to do that.
But I think to answer your question directly, I think Parker and I tried to look at his condensed P&L at least every couple of weeks. I mean, for sure once a month, but generally speaking, it's every 2 weeks. And then we really just look at the whole snapshot of the business. And I would say we leave those meetings with a couple pieces of direction of like, okay, we're going to pull back on this for the rest of the month or for next month, or, you know, what the sales numbers show us we can do within the P&L. But I think it's usually a meeting and then a couple pieces of direction.
Got you. So
and that's
you'll
where
get the
I come to
information.
Liz and I say, hey, Liz, how did we spend $25,000 on meals and entertainment last month?
Yeah.
You know,
and then I'm like, remember these eight things you asked to do?
Parker,
that's right.
Yeah. But it's funny at this stage of the business versus when we started. I mean, we would do P&L review maybe twice a year, right? And now we're doing it twice a month. And it's because you need to stay on top of it.
The key there is you were doing it. See, I think there are so many agents, you know who you are listening right now, who like, when I get big, I'll do that whole P&L thing. I know it's important, but I don't want to hire a bookkeeper yet. I don't want to hire an accountant yet, right? And I don't need monthly P&L. I got cash in the bank. I spend it, right? It works. It's fine. When I get big, I'll figure it out. That's not how it works. You can't get big without figuring it out. And even though you might have only been looking at it every once in a while, you know, that's still infinitely more times than someone who's never looked at it. And you don't get to where you're looking at it with more frequency without looking at it at some point infrequently. So kudos to you for doing that.
Well, and the reason it's so important is per Real Trends, I mean, everyone can look this up. We closed 1,253 transactions last year. So we're on pace to double the business from last year.
That's incredible.
Which, you know,
in a down market. Congrats. Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I'm propping you up. You can just nod, but yes.
Yeah.
So, I have a question I want to ask you. So I'm going to take this down a slightly different road because you're bringing up something that we haven't discussed before. There's been a lot of movement. I'm generalizing here, but there's been a lot of movement towards teams away from brokerage. And you guys are, I have this correct, you were a massive team and now you've moved into brokerage. Is that fair assessment?
Yes.
100%.
Talk to us about that. I want to hear what was the shift? Why? Like, give me some background on that, because that's a different trend than we've been seeing in the industry thus far.
Yeah. And it was a month after Compass acquired Anywhere too. So I was getting texts like, wow, that's a ballsy time to go broker.
Hey, look at you, Parker.
But you got big market share. So there's always a difference in, as we've talked about, market share is the key in that roll-up game. But continue.
Yeah. Liz, you were going to say something.
Yeah. Well, I would just say, I think we had gotten to a size as a team where we saw that the best way to provide services to our agents was to come up with to develop all of the different departments within our own brokerage, or within our own team, so that we had all of those services available to our agents. And then there just became a tipping point where we said, okay, at this point, we're really providing everything, and we're really happy with the way that we're providing all of those things. So we may as well just do this whole thing on our own.
Yeah.
And then the cost difference equaled the risk, right? You consume more 100%. Risk if you open your own brokerage, right? There's that piece. But when you did the math, you're like, well, if we're going to make that much more and have some autonomy and freedom, we're willing to consume that risk. Is that sort of the teeter-totter decision-making experience, or was there more to it?
Well, I mean, there's, anytime you're talking about transitioning 200 people over, to a new brokerage, it's an extremely heavy decision. So we had been talking about it for a long time, and long time to us is probably shorter than most, but this has been it was on my radar.
I mean, it is still real estate.
Yeah. Well, I started to look at where we were at in comparison to the marketplace, and we achieved number one status at EXP last year, and I absolutely love those guys. So I want to make sure Leo and team, they helped us get here.
Yeah.
They helped us get here. Yeah. And we're still close friends. But we get to a point where halfway through 2025, we're pacing to be 1,000 transactions over the number 2 team at the company. And I just go back to golf mode. It's like, well, we're the biggest fish in the pond. Where is the next level? Like, and now that we go, out, and this is nothing against anybody, but we're the biggest fish in all of these mastermind rooms. I want to be the smallest fish, and I want to get into the next biggest room. And I had already been going independently out to different brokerages, friends that have companies across the country, studying their models, because I wanted to see what it was like at 500 agents or 1,000 agents and be inspired to grow to that size as well. So it was a little bit of all of that. But then, when you just look at the numbers, guys, I mean, you get to a certain size and it just makes logical sense to me, at least.
Well,
you made a comment.
Risk reward, right? It's at some point the reward outweighs the additional business risk, and so then and if you maybe are younger in your career and aspirational, you might be like, yeah, let's do this, right? And if you're old and tired like me, be like, nah, we're good here, we're fine. But like, it's a deeply personal decision, and then the math had to make sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, and Liz and I, so we said, look, like, I've got a 1-year-old at home, and I'm like, I'm in the zone for the next 20 years. And if we're going to do this, Liz, like, let's build something that is ours, that we can make really special in a time where Wall Street is taking over the industry. I said, look, I think this is a really opportune time to be a strong, independent option to the agents that don't want to be a part of that. And we're absolutely making a splash as an indie right now, and I don't regret it. Very much looking forward to what's to come.
Yeah. I want to ask you this question, Parker.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. But I want to, because I love what you're saying, and I want to get this out because we actually haven't had this discussion with anybody yet. So Compass Anywhere makes the announcement, and you obviously were making this move. Like, what was going through your brain at that time? Like, just like, tell me like your thoughts. And I'm asking because there's a lot of independents out there who are freaked out.
Yeah, they're stressing. Right,
so like, I want to hone in on like your mindset. Granted, I know you've got market share, but you still had to have some like, oh shit moments in that conversation. So like, talk to me about like what you did, how you've led your people through this discussion. Like, give us a little background on that.
Yeah, it might sound cliche, but I went back to what I knew about from golf. And in golf, every shot that you have to be present in the moment of that shot. If you worry about what comes next or what happened the hole before, you are absolutely not going to be present and able to hit the best shot that you can hit at that point. And golf is a series of 60 or 70 different opportunities to succeed. And so
60 or 70, mine are more like 160, but anyway, keep going. Yeah, keep going, Parker. Keep going.
I know. I look at business the same way. There's always going to be something that's trying to knock us off, that's trying to distract us, that's trying to get us off of the mission. And then I remind myself, come back to what matters most. And in our business, it's the 3 things we focus on: recruiting, retention, and per agent productivity. So the way that I led the team was, it doesn't matter what's happening on Inman right now. It doesn't matter what's happening in the news or in the world or in politics. Let's go back to the mission of helping our agents succeed. and let's bring in more agents, let's retain more agents, and let's literally help them sell more homes. And yeah, that might sound cliche, but that's what we've done.
We are about as distracted as a civilization as we have ever been. And so I haven't been around the whole time, but as long as I've been around. And so the ability to focus like that is such a, like, you need to pay attention to the noise for sure. But at some point you just got to execute, right?
Yeah,
I love it.
You do. And when you believe in yourself and you believe in the people around you, like Liz and I have unbelievable people around us, the best in the industry, the best director of growth, the best transaction coordinators. We have the best marketing team. Like we have the best attorney. I can't name them all, right? But we have an amazing team around us, and we believe that this group of people can do this despite the stuff going on. We just believe in ourselves.
Yeah. Let me ask you this as a follow-up, and jump in here, Liz, too. You guys went from team to brokerage. You had a structure you were doing prior. Is it the same structure now? Like, are you operating the brokerage like a team still, or have you now separated that out where you've got solo agents and team people? Like, give us some background on how you've structured everything prior and then after this change.
Yeah, I'll give you a little, and then Parker can jump in as well. But yes, I would say we used to be a team that felt a little bit like a brokerage due to our size, and now we are sort of the opposite. Yeah, and now we are a brokerage, but we still do very much operate like a team. We don't at the moment have a division of kind of levels of involvement. It's just everyone follows the same expectations and has the same level of support that we provide to them, which we feel like is pretty intense. Down the road, might there be a time when we open up an additional division that treats people differently? Probably. But at the moment, we are kind of retaining our cohesive team feeling.
Got it. And how's that structured? Talk to us about that. Like, is it multiple departments? Do you do all lead gen? Like, go deep for us on how everything's structured.
Yeah, I think it's important to know that we're not trying to be the biggest. We're not trying to have the most agents. Yeah, to us, it's about quality, and it's about people that fit what we're doing. And I was inspired by a good friend, Anthony Lamacchia. A lot of people listening will know who he is.
Of course.
And I
one of the best podcasts we ever did was with Anthony. Yeah.
He's easy. You just got to turn the mic on and you can leave.
Question, and then he goes off.
You could just leave. Yeah.
He has no reason to help us and help me. And he's kind of treated me like a brother.
He's a good dude.
Which is just so impactful to us. When I saw 783 agents operating at a 30% split to the brokerage model, team model, I knew that we could do it. And I knew that we could take this from 200 to 500 and continue down the road that we're going down. What I think most teams run into is they run into this gap at 50, 60 agents where everybody has to do the same thing the same way. They have to use the same services. They have the same split. They're capped at 70, 30, 80, 20, whatever it is. And we flipped that on its head and we said, let's let agents choose what they want to do. And this was inspired also from our experience at Coldwell Banker. Because at Coldwell Banker, in my first year in real estate, I got going. I sold 97 houses in my first year. And as I'm starting to scale and get off the mower, if you remember, I'm like, hey, who's going to help me hire people? How do I hire a transaction coordinator? How do I get marketing help? Well, it didn't exist inside the walls of the office that I was in, at least. So I'm not generalizing the whole industry here. It's just the office I was in.
Yeah.
And then, well, I want to do video. How do I get a videographer? How do I master Facebook ads? How do I get lead generation? And all the departments started to be built. And so we started to hire them. Liz and I hired people who were in full-time, capacity of taking care of their departments. And that eventually became 80 agents or so, I want to say at 2022. And then we flipped the model and we said, instead of having a 70-30 split across the board, we're going to allow agents to go to the very top if they earn it. And all of our services are going to become elective. And where the magic happened was around 150 agents, because the transaction volume was so high that we turned our transaction department into a profit center.
Right.
We turned our marketing center, or our marketing department, into a profit center. We turned video into a profit center because we're charging per service, and the agents can electively choose to use it or not. Right. And so what we can do is we can keep our cost level we can, when services rise and when more demand rises, we simply hire another coordinator.
Right.
And Liz, if you want to add anything to that, like, please do. But the services model is what truly makes us different in our marketplace. I'm not seeing any other brokerage out there on the top 10 in my market that have all of the services inside the walls of their company that the agents can sit down with the leader of that department and say, I want to do video. I want help with AI. We have a director of technology at our company that coaches our agents on AI. Like, there's so many things that agents have to go and source themselves outside. And I'm very passionate about this because it truly is making a huge impact for us.
So just to understand how that works, and Liz, maybe you can answer this. So you have a video department, you have a transaction coordination department, you have a bunch of these departments. It's optional for me as an agent. If I want to use transaction coordination, great. If I want to do it myself, also great, though you shouldn't, but story for a different podcast. So I decide, I want to do video. And so then I go to the video coordinator. How do I get charged by the video, or like unpack for me how this works?
Yeah, we have lots of different options set up, but everything is very systemic and very systematized. Most everything we do is based on some sort of submission form that we use through Typeform that tells us all the things that we need to know and gets routed to the correct people. Most of our things, if they're transaction related, we charge back to the agent at closing. Otherwise, if they're just kind of generalized marketing stuff, we link it to an online store where they just pay for things up front.
Okay.
We try to make it as convenient as possible so that the scheduling and the obtaining the service is really easy, so they can just focus on the substance.
And then everything they need, you have in-house, right? However, like one of the dangers of this business is there's so many different ways to build it, right? And so you could pick a new one every 6 months, and that's what often happens. And then they're never successful because every 6 months they're starting a new initiative. But you're giving them what they need to be successful within the walls of your sandbox and keeping it fully contextualized, which is really smart. You're creating your own ecosystem, basically.
Yeah, and you're taking an agent wherever they're at in their journey, and you're providing them value where they need it. A brand new agent, they need a much different experience than what an agent doing 20 million a year needs, right? Or it's been in the business for 20 years. And like, let's be honest here, by the way, if you're a successful agent, you don't want somebody capping your income.
Right.
You know, the reasons people leave companies, number one, they either leadership failed them or they don't have an opportunity to grow anymore. And then they go seek it out somewhere else. And so with us, we said, we need to be able to meet new agents where they're at, and we need to be able to bring in experienced agents and provide them value, because I don't feel like the traditional brokerage does that. I think it's a one size fits all, and it's kind of on the agent to figure it out.
Well, what's interesting is, sorry, James, then I'll let you go, but you're not really competing on price. I'm sure you have a sliding commission.
That's where I was going
and,
anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're competing on service. You're like, hey, look, everyone else, you guys can race to the bottom. If you want a place where if you sell a lot, you keep a lot. That's how we all work, by the way. So if you sell a lot, you keep a lot. And I'm going to be the service company, and we'll let other people be the low cost leader. Is that accurate? Or?
Absolutely. Yeah. Last month we were 31.57% agent split. We'll call it cost of goods. In July we were 36%. In May we were 29%.
Number, by the way. Yeah.
So if we can stay at about 30% and continue to scale and grow, we're in a really good spot, because we have a lot of resources to be able to continue to add that value.
Parker, in my keynotes I do, and Keith and I have been very vocal about this. Part of this is Keith, I got to give him credit, but we talk about all the time that people are willing to pay a premium for service and convenience. It's literally in every single study you can look at about any business or anything in the US. People will pay a premium for service and experience. So it's fascinating to me that what you're basically saying, yeah, we're not the cheapest, but we've got all these amazing things here. And everything you need to do it is in-house. It's here, it's orchestrated, it's ready to go. And people are willing to pay, I'm not even calling it a premium, but they're willing to pay more for convenience and service. And it doesn't have to be that everybody's trying to be the cheapest. Like, you're going, yeah, screw that shit. Like, we're going to go the other way and be this amazing company that provides great leadership, obviously, but also has everything you need to be successful. And I love the comment you made about no matter where you are at your point in your career, we've got the things you need to be able to make that happen. So you're recruiting great talent, but you're retaining the talent based upon where they are in their career themselves. I think that's an important thing I want people to hear. You know, I always tell this people too, they're like, oh, we're trying to compete on commission split. I'm like, you lost. It's done. It's over. You already lost. Immediately you lost because there's going to be somebody cheaper. Like, that's not how you want to compete at all. So kudos, by the way, for doing that. I love the transition. All right, I want to make sure I get a bunch of questions in for time wise. Do you do internal lead gen? Is that something that's part of your services? And then do you have like a lead team? Give us a little background on that.
Yeah, absolutely. We do.
Okay.
We're one of the biggest Zillow accounts, one of the biggest Realtor.com accounts. So very similar to George, actually, the last episode. Currently, right now, 29% company lead, which I'm proud of. We're trying to get that down to 25%, but we're 29% today, 71% agent sphere past client. And that has been flipped from the opposite from 5 years ago. And the more agents we bring on that bring in their sphere, the more that gets adjusted.
Well, it's also better for everybody because you're not paying out so many referral fees.
Right. Yeah. Everybody's making more money.
Yeah. Right.
But if we go back to the Angie's List comment from the lawn care days, you know, everybody has to have lead generation coming in the door. You cannot simply wait for your sphere to pick up the phone and call you. And that principle was just abundantly clear to me in lawn care. And when I came into real estate, I knew I had to set up lead pillars. And so that's what we did. And
how would you, so there's this sort of theme in the industry that online leads suck, right? Air quotes, right? But pretty much every top producer we have talked to so far since we launched this agent series has online leads as some core, not the totality of their business, but it is a core component of their business. Let's pretend I'm an agent who thinks online leads suck. And you both happen to care about me as a human being and you want me to see the folly in my ways. How would you explain it to me so that I don't, online leads suck. Zillow's the devil. What are they going to do with my data? Like, I don't really want to do online leads, guys. Is there some other way? Can't I go, start a lawn care company and just door knock my way to success or something? Like, I don't want to do online leads. What would you tell
Parker, you answer that, but first let me say that we, for a little while, had a series of t-shirts made that said, the leads don't suck, you suck. They were short-lived.
By the way, there's the opening for the podcast right there.
Please tell me you've got that in a 3XL because I want it. Yeah.
If I can find one, I'll send it to you. Go ahead, Parker.
Yeah. What was the question?
What was the hell was the question? You're talking to so many agents shy away from online leads.
Yeah.
But so many of the top teams that we talk to, it's a core component of their business.
They all do. They all have an online lead business. All of them.
We've had a couple, Charlie, and a couple others who don't, but for the most part, a vast majority do. So help convert me and help me understand the error in my ways by not wanting to do online leads.
Yeah, the first question comes down to, what are your goals, Keith? I mean, what do you really want to accomplish in this business? And when we start to break that down and what those goals mean to you and your family, it starts to identify the things that we need to do to get there. And then it's a simple question of, do you want to get there faster or do you want to get there slower? Because
they take 40%. Like, is that faster, Parker?
I know. 40% today is better than nothing. By the way, it still makes most mortgage payments in Minnesota. Last time I checked, it's still getting the job done. But the opportunity that we really dive deep into is how to create referrals from those opportunities and how to treat those as past clients for life.
There it is.
And we do something a little different here. We might get criticized for this, but after 12 months of a lead being closed, it becomes an agent sphere connection after that. And we do it that way because we did it the other way for a long time. And you'll just notice that agents are just walking into the office, putting their hands out, sitting on the hamster wheel, just taking the next Zillow lead. And they're not putting any time and attention into the people that they just worked with for 3 months or 6 months. Right. And I have yet to see this burn us. Agents don't try to screw us over. They stay at our company longer because they know if they stay in touch with those clients, they're coming back at their personal sphere level, which, by the way, is growing the more they sell with our company.
Right.
And so the client gets a better experience, number one, which is that's where really the most important thing is. 2, the agent stays with the company and has more opportunity. And then 3, the company sells more houses because those leads are coming back to us as well.
Right.
Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do two last questions. Keith will take us out. I just want to ask this one just because we're really curious. Keith and I, which we'll be announcing later, are securing a pretty incredible guest on our show, which you'll have to watch for regarding AI. Give me your thoughts. So you've got this incredible company you've built. You're going into full brokerage. You guys are obviously in tune with everything. What are your thoughts on AI, and more specifically, where are you going with AI inside your company?
Yeah, we just hosted an event on this called, what was it called, Liz? It's our magnet series.
Yeah, becoming a client magnet with AI. Literally yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Literally.
Yeah.
It was insane, you guys. With 2 weeks notice, we had 147 opt-ins, 98 people showed up, 26 people scanned the QR code, and we had 13 interviews set up for the next 2 days. Our growth team's going nuts on this. It's a backbone of what we do here, which is our value-driven events. But AI is such a hot topic. 147 people said, "Hey, I want to come see that." And it's because I think, number one, they hear everywhere that they need to incorporate it, but then no one knows what it actually is and what it does.
Or how to do it. Yeah.
They think it's like taking Keith's face and putting it on James's body on the Sora app and watching him run around the farm.
We need to do because
we do. James,
right? But our best AI tip that came out of this session yesterday was that what agents need to focus on the most is how to become findable on ChatGPT.
Yeah,
that's the part that we don't necessarily put a lot of time into, and making sure that AI finds, likes, and trusts us the same way that prospective clients
Google does, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
the new
way
Google,
to do it,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's the applications in our real estate business that the agents can literally take and deploy, and then we have a coach at the company that helps them create all of that too. So
what are some of the products you're using on AI
as part of your company, right? Yep.
Yeah, we have a director of technology that is extremely well versed in AI, and he's on site to be able to help our agents and our company. Leads trainings on it. It allows Liz and I to stay in our trenches of where we should be versus learning this new thing. And we of course use it in many applications as well, it's a huge privilege to have. And I think it's going to be really interesting.
I was at an event yesterday where Marky Lamons was speaking. She's so deep into AI.
She's so good.
She's so good too. And she was just going deep on some of these products and services that she's doing and the stuff she's creating. By the way, before we get to the last question, thank you for the whole idea, Liz, of Keith's head on my body, because somebody in our viewer and listener now is going to go to Sora and create this shit, and then it's going to be all over. This is about to happen thanks to you, by the way. So,
James, just prepare to know what it's like to be incredibly handsome for a little while. It's coming your way.
All right, we got a last question. Keith, take us out. So,
all right. So this is for both of you. For agents and team leaders listening who want to build something at scale, what's the one piece of advice you would give them? Liz, you can go first, and Parker, you can close us out.
Yeah, building something at scale, I think starting from a place of contribution and giving away as much as you can, expecting nothing in return to start, will eventually make its way back to you. And we've done that on lots of different levels and have seen it work really well.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
that was great, Liz.
Good luck, Parker. Your turn.
Yeah.
There are so many things, but I come back to our mission. Our mission is to contribute to the real estate community every single day by providing value, education, and insights to help agents grow. And no matter what happens, if I do something on a daily basis that is in line with that mission, we're putting something out there that's going to help somebody, and we're going to grow from that. And I think you need to have a backbone to what you're doing, and that's our backbone. You need to be mission driven. In times of distraction season, right?
Yes,
like we talked about, it keeps you down that right path of where to be.
That was awesome. Great answer.
Well, look, congratulations to you both. I love these stories. This is an incredible story of just, transitioning in different industries, coming in and crushing it in genuinely a short amount of time. And we're rooting you on. We think it's great. And, congratulations on all the success. So
keep going.
We appreciate you being
Thanks
here.
so much for having us. This has been so fun.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for all you guys do. Thank you.
It's our pleasure.
You got it.
Thanks.
Talk soon. Thanks for joining us on this episode. Subscribe now so Keith and I aren't forced to start an MLM.